A vintage year in Hitman Blood Money is really the first mission where the sandbox really opens up to the player. Sure, there's the first mission, Death of a Showman, but really it's just a tutorial. And as I've said previously, it's a bad mission, but an amazing tutorial. A vintage year, though, removes the whole linear structure, and now instead of your target being in one singular location, where you maybe have like 2 or 3 different things that you can do to them to take them out, now they're going to be walking around, there's going to be guards, they're going to have their own routines and habits, patterns you have to look out for in order to close the gap and get them. This is the first mission that feels like a puzzle. So this video is basically kind of like a little bit of a retrospective level review. I'm going to do a quick overview of the mission, look at kind of what's going on in the story, see if I have what it takes to get Silent Assassin on this map with the Silent Assassin Challenge, and then I'm going to give this level a score between 1 and 5 bullet holes. So let's get right into it. So the cutscene before the mission is a little different this time. In Death of a Showman, we're given the background on why we're going after our target, what he did that led up to the actual moment of Agent 47 arriving to take Joseph Clarence's life. This time, it's different. The pre-mission cutscene, instead, introduces us to the overall story of the game.
Rick Henderson. I've been looking forward to this.
As have I, Mr. Alexander.
So, we have Rick, a journalist with a very interesting haircut, and he arrives at FBI Director Alexander Leland Jack Kane's house, and man, that is a freaking mouthful. We're just gonna call him Jack. Anyways, Rick arrives there to interview Jack about, I believe it's the attack on the White House that previously happened in the game, and maybe even go over his career a bit. Almost immediately, though, Jack tells Rick that it was a ruse.
If you want to sound off on politics...
Rick, my apologies. This interview about me is just a cover for a more sensitive story.
And that he has a much bigger story that he wants to break for him. And that even though he got him there on false pretenses, that what he's about to tell him is going to be the scoop of the century.
If I had a dime for every time I heard that...
Listen, please.
So at this point, Rick is interested, and that's when Jack starts off with a story about a Chilean cartel Don Fernando Delgado. And that takes us back to 2004 with Agent 47 readying up for a mission to Chile. And this time, his contract is 2 targets, not 1. One, Don Fernando Delgado, and his son, Manuel Delgado. Now, Don Fernando Delgado is an older man with a crazy past, and he currently runs a drug operation out of his wine business. He's also an accomplished cellist, who even wrote Ode to a Scream that was apparently performed and well received by critics. So he is an interesting target, although we can draw the conclusion that there's probably a lot of blood on his hands. His son is kind of a spoiled brat who grew up on daddy's money, and he works out all the time, goes skiing, and when he's not doing those 2 things, he's browsing the internet for interesting things. Anyways, other than that, we don't know too much about these guys, but we do know they're part of a drug cartel. That's bad news. They gotta go. And it's a little harder to feel sorry for them than it was for Joseph Clarence, who was just a negligent amusement park owner who wanted to see his park rise again and save his marriage. These guys are more like your bad guys. So Agent 47 arrives on the day of a massive party at this vineyard. Don Fernando Delgado is creating a new wine based off an action movie star in the Hitman universe. And it's cool too, you can even see him talking in the compound.
Come on, you know the deal, kid. Smile, play nice, drink a little vino, kiss the old bags and the fat housewives.
It's nice to feel respected again.
What'd I tell you, kid? We'll have you back on the A-list in 6 months.
So with that being the perfect time for Agent 47 to arrive and draw little attention by blending into a crowd, he arrives at the gates of the vineyard. So this mission's cool. It's a sandbox, but it's not like super crazy. Sure, the first time you start this mission, once you walk through the gates, it's a little easy to be like, oh, what do I do, and get overwhelmed. But that's really most Hitman missions. You start off, you have no idea what to do, and you start kind of doing reconnaissance. Maybe you burn a playthrough or 2 of a mission, just kind of running around seeing what happens if you do certain things. And that's cool. That's, there's really no wrong way to play Hitman, as long as the targets are taken out. It's about putting together the pieces of the puzzle until you have a completed puzzle. But this mission makes things a little bit more interesting than your run-of-the-mill Hitman-style assassination from previous titles. And the reason for that is you have one target who is down in the lower levels of the map, and there's a certain security clearance you need to get down there. And he has his own schedule and routine that he'll be doing throughout your time during the mission. The other target, the big one, Fernando Delgado, is up in the 2nd story floor of his house, mansion, whatever. And he is a stationary target, but he is harder to get to. And that place has its own security clearance as well, the Tier 2 guard. So in this map, there's a Tier 1 guard and a Tier 2 guard. Tier 1 guards are allowed to go a lot of places, but Tier 2 guards can go virtually anywhere. There's also workers, and while they're not guards, they are allowed access to pretty much everywhere except for the actual household itself. And I think they're even allowed into certain parts of it, just not the 2nd story. 47 in his standard outfit is allowed around the perimeter of the vineyard and into the main party area, and that's pretty much it. There's a film crew there, but I don't really think they do too much good. But I could be wrong about that. So really, the first goal in this mission is to get a guard outfit. And you can do that a couple of different ways. You can go around the side, take out a guard over here, throw him over the railing, or there's the actual guardhouse to the left as soon as you enter the compound. And if you go in there, you can cut the power, lure a guard out, take him out, take his clothes, but there's nowhere to stash the body. There's also a tiny area where you can go and take a guard out if you're quick enough and put their body in a box. And with the power of the coin, there's probably a million other ways you can get a guard outfit. Those are just the first few ones that come to mind. But something that's really cool is that you can climb in this game. So another option is to just go left, don't even go through the gate, walk all the way around the side. And once this guard here turns around, climb up this truck. And if you time it just right, you can climb over the roof here and drop down and take out a worker stealthily, dump his body, and rock his outfit with those sweet, sweet overalls. After that, you're allowed to go down. You're allowed down into the actual winery itself, and you can start to observe things and piece together the puzzle yourself. I like how tricky this map is with Manuel. He's moving around, and there's a crowd that's taking a tour of the establishment. They'll also interact with NPCs from time to time, and so you have to be very particular about when you take them out. There's also so many guards down there, because behind one of those barrels is their drug operation. So we can do a couple of things. He'll go off the beaten path and partake in his own supply, which he probably shouldn't be doing, and we can take him out either while he's doing it, when he's done doing it. We can slip out of a hall and just kind of grab him whenever we can. I believe you can even throw him into the mixture of the wine itself. But there's the most popular way of taking him out, and that's setting a bomb, having it go off, and having a bunch of barrels and crates and stuff fall on him. It's the most theatrical way and really fun. You can even just push him down the stairs. So there's a lot of really cool creative ways you can take him out. You could also just shoot him, but that's everyone in this game. So with him out of the way, that leaves Don Fernando Delgado. So there is kind of like a secret pass up top that you could take to get up onto the balcony and sneak into the house, or you could get your hands on a tier 2 guard outfit. And once you have a tier 2 guard outfit, you're free to basically just walk in, sneak up behind him, hit him with the syringe, fiber wire him. There's a knife downstairs next to the food for the party guests that you can take, and you can use that to get rid of him. Or when he goes for a cigarette break, you can just give him a little friendly nudge. You can even poison his wine. Something I've tried to do that doesn't seem to work is take out the guard on the right side, take out the sniper, and try and shoot him while he's on the balcony. For some reason, the bullets just don't seem to want to hit him. It could just be my aim though. But once both targets are gone, there's only one thing left to do, and that's escape. And you can either take an elevator down past the drug business, down into the hangar, or there's this back area here where you could run down a cliffside, a really sketchy looking pathway to get to the airplane. You can even do this in Agent 47's suit, and you're pretty much all right. The guards are going to be yelling at you to leave, but I mean, you're on your way to leave. So those are some of the stealthy options you could do. And of course, there's always the other approach. But what's really neat about this mission is it really forces the player, for the first time in the game, to slow down and observe. In Death of a Showman, you were following text prompts. Now, it's your lead. You have to decide what to do. And something the Hitman games do very well is making you really wait for it. And when the time finally comes to get your target, something could go wrong and all could be lost. But that's what makes it so dang satisfying to take them out. Something else I really love about this mission is it's just a total change of scenery from the previous one. I think there's only 2 missions in this entire game that take place outside of America, and this is one of them. So we go from the rundown amusement park with a lot of dark browns and reds to this vibrant green, lush environment. We can hear animals and people are partying. It's a happy, joyous atmosphere in stark contrast to the previous dark, depressing tones of Death of a Showman. On the surface, it seems that everything's fine, but once you start poking around and you dig deeper, you see that there's more than meets the eye to this place. So there's really not much else going on with this mission. It is an excellent first presentation to the player to open them up to the sandbox style gameplay. There is some interesting stuff in the environment like concept art and Fernando Delgado's house hanging up on the walls, so that's pretty interesting. Also him performing on the cello, that's pretty dang cool too. If you wanted to be super stealthy and just take him out with Agent 47's suit still on though, you could just run in, push Manuel down the stairs, run back out, run to the left, climb up on the roof, hop down, climb up a pipe, go to the left, hop through a window, and bam, you're right there. So this mission offers a lot of different ways of getting to your targets, but it's not too difficult to get to them. I think it's easy to make it too difficult yourself to get to them, when really, if you just take your time and look around, you'll see that it's not that challenging. But still, I think it does a good job opening the game up to the players, showing them, hey, you learned those mechanics in the previous mission, or the tutorial. Now it's time to put them to use. And it's nice to see a return of every mechanic that we learned in Death of a Showman, such as the use of the bombs to make something fall and land on our target, or being able to cut the power box, or being able to hide, or being able to dump bodies, being able to climb and scale the environment. This time not in a linear way, but in more of an open way. I think this map really excelled at that. Another thing too is Blood Money's maps are a lot more small and focused than previous entries in the series, and I think that this, and almost every mission in Hitman Blood Money, has a very tight and thought-out design. And I couldn't believe this actually ran on PS2 hardware when I was a kid, because the map has the illusion of being big. It's big vertically. Also, there's just something about assassinating Don Fernando Delgado with the fiber wire while he's playing the cello. It's one of the most iconic moments in the entire series, and it's just perfect. You can really feel the confidence the series has with itself in just that moment alone. It knows what it is, and it does it well, just like Agent 47. So with that said, I feel like I talked a big game saying that it's pretty easy to silent assassin. So let's see if I can do it in the Silent Assassin Challenge. In fact, I'll talk a bigger game. I'm gonna do it in a minute 30.
The Silent Assassin Challenge.
Alright, so I'm gonna run in through here, and I'm immediately gonna throw a coin. And that's to distract this guard here. Alright, so let's run in through these doors here, and gotta sneak. Don't want him to see me. Okay, let's get down here, and let's fiber wire him. Bam. I love that in this game. I love how the fiber wire goes real quick if you do it just right. All right, let's get out of here. All right, now we're over here, and should be, yep, tier 2 guard. Gonna drop this behind him and just around him, open this door, run. And where's the thing? There it is. Okay, I'm gonna drop this mine here. Okay, mine bomb, whatever. And now it's time to go. It's time to get out of here. Let's go. And let's detonate it. Don't mind me. Yep, he's gone. All right, make it to the elevator. All right. And we're in the hangar. Okay, let's go. Hey man, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. All right, the airplane. Okay, he's asleep, and boom, done. And yes, silent assassin. Yep, boom. So this is something I actually learned from a buddy years ago, and I think he learned it from a video. I think this is actually a very common way to speedrun silent assassin this mission. So yeah, there you have it. But don't worry, I am not so confident with the rest of the maps in this game. In fact, I have silent assassin this particular map more than any other Hitman map ever. So if you wanted to know how to do it, there. I'm sure there's a million videos online that show you how to do it, but that's how you can do it. All right, so I think that does a good job of showing you, once the smoke and mirrors are out of the way, it's a pretty damn simple map. And while I don't think the game should immediately slap you in the face with difficulty, I do think it would be a little cooler if it was a little less easy to exploit it. But I think the scenery's great. I think the first 2 targets are interesting enough. I think the map design is pretty solid, but there's really not too much replay value with this map, but it is an excellent introduction to the actual gameplay part itself. I don't know. I think this map deserves 4 bullet holes out of 5. So there you have it. That's my level review for A Vintage Year. Do you agree with me? Let me know down in the comments. It's my goal to go through every single level in Hitman Blood Money and pretty much do this exact kind of formula. I think it would be really cool. So if that's something you're interested in, if you like Hitman Blood Money or Hitman games in general, please leave the video a like. It would help me a lot, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel, because who knows, after I do Blood Money, I'm really thinking about jumping into contracts next and maybe into World of Assassination. Actually, I haven't played those fully yet. But with that out of the way, to the left is the video before this one. So if you haven't seen my level review on Death of a Showman, go ahead and click that video and check it out. And the video on the right, when it's out, is going to be the next video in the series. But if that's it for tonight and you and I are parting ways, have a great rest of your week, day, night, year, month, whatever. Just be safe out there. It's a dangerous world. Watch out for Agent 47. Whatever. I'm being cheesy. Peace.